Hi, I'm Lamb Bubbly, guest host on Living 365 TV today. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365. See? Perfect!
Hi, I'm Priya Ali, host of Living 365 TV. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365. Welcome to Living 365 TV. I'm your host, Priya Ali. This show is designed to bring you real experts, real tools for real people like you who are ready to stop waiting and start living 365. I'd like to start off the show by giving a shout out to our new hair today and makeup team, Gina Niker. Gina is from Beautiful Faces by Gina, actually based out of Chatham, Ontario, but you can go ahead and order online the wonderful makeup that Gina used for me today. I have to tell you, the lip stain is phenomenal. I couldn't get that thing off. It was so good. So be sure to check that out. We'll be giving you all the details at the end of the show. Now we're in the middle of March, just about to head into the middle of March. And for those of you who might still be a little blue about Valentine's Day and you haven't quite made your connections with someone that day or therefore after, I mean, leading up to Valentine's Day can sometimes be tough, but after, when you're seeing the people that actually did hook up and you weren't one of them, it can be a little bit tough. But good news is we have Leanne Bubbly, who's a dating coach and the owner of King of Hearts here today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you. You have such a great energy. You and I actually connected at a fun event in Toronto.
We did.
And we just kind of hit it off. And I thought you'd have some great advice to give out to people. And we could talk a little bit about what the role of a dating coach is, a little bit about love, and get some facts out there for the people that are still looking for that special someone for their life. Now, dating coach, what does a dating coach do?
So I always say 99% of people come in
Yes.
expecting to learn more about other females, how to, master seduction, how to make women fall in love with you and all that good stuff.
Yes.
But 100% of the clients come out learning a lot more about their own self.
Yes.
And how to become the best version of yourself, balance things out between your spirituality and what I refer to as the matrix, which I'm sure we'll talk more about further down. But yeah, coaching about how to find your own energy and fine-tune yourself in order to become your best version.
And that's a really great point, because a lot of people are in the mindset of looking externally for
Exactly.
what they want in a person and a partner, and they don't always bring that to the table. So through my own coaching practice too, I've often noticed that people will have this ideal list. Well, what's your ideal partner look like? And they'll list it out, and then you say, well, are you any of those things? And they kind of like do a head scratch, or they don't, they want someone who's athletic, but they're 20 pounds overweight and haven't seen the inside of a gym since they were in elementary school. And you're like, really? How do you think that you're going to attract somebody that way? Do you see that in your clientele as well?
A lot.
Yeah.
One of the first things I do is reality check. Okay, we need to actually
Hello.
evaluate. Yeah. Well, they say that 30% of everything we talk about is related to media. And I mean, a lot of people, they grow up with TV shows, films that teach them that you should expect a Prince Charming or a Princess Charming to come into your
Yes.
life. You have to give them a reality check, and that's how you do it, through coaching, through really putting them in uncomfortable situations,
Yeah.
and seeing what they can bring to the table, so that they actually reevaluate themselves and they're like, okay, this is honestly who I am, and the person that I should be looking for is someone that should complete me, inspire me, be compatible.
Yeah,
with me.
compatible.
Yeah.
Definitely compatible. Now, the complete one, I have a bit of because it reminds me of that Jerry Maguire, that movie where he walks in and she says, "You complete me." And I just want to rewind and grab her and say, no, he doesn't. Your mother and father completed you when they brought you into this world. You are complete. But to complement, right? To be compatible
Complement.
with, inspire, and that kind of thing. Because I do feel like people are looking for that person that, I can't live without you. And I'm thinking, oh shit, now you're in trouble, because if they're not there, and then what are you going to do? Right? So for me, having gone through marriage and divorce twice, I have learned that to me, it's about coming to the relationship whole. and coming there for what you bring, like what you're saying, bring your best attributes, and that person brings their best attributes, and together you share the fireworks, right?
Absolutely.
But if somebody is your fireworks and one day they're not lit up, then what are you doing? Right? You feel flat. Do you see that around in your own personal life too?
Yeah. So one of the first questions I actually ask my clients is, do you feel complete today? And most of them are going to answer no. And then you tell them, what are the first 3 things that you think are missing from your life? Most of them are going to blame, their financial situation. Maybe I didn't find the ideal partner in my life to inspire me. And that's when you really see that there's a difference in their way of thinking. There's a lack of independence, of go-getter leadership. And that's what you try to inspire in them through little challenges.
Yeah.
But in order to feel complete, one has to understand oneself first. As you say, you probably hear this a lot all the time, but you can't love someone else if you don't love yourself 100%.
Yeah.
And that is so true. You see so many people misguided, and they're kind of lost in their own reality, as they call it, in your own bubble.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that everyone has their own bubble. Everyone has their own comfort zone. So you have to understand yourself, and then you have to understand how to read someone else's universe and kind of balance it out between what you want and what you need.
Yeah.
So it's a very philosophical idea too. You have to kind of evaluate how you think and how the other thinks and what are your dreams. There's so many things that come into place.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, start with knowing your own self.
Knowing your own self.
And getting to build yourself to the best version that you can possibly be.
Now, what do you think about the way that the media plays a part in this? Because I go bananas when I see, like on Facebook and all these little articles, 7 ways to keep a man, 6 weeks to keep her screaming, or whatever it is. Like there's always these little tips, and some of it just seems so far-fetched and ludicrous that that's the goal, to hook a man, to get yourself out of the friend zone with her, like all this kind of stuff. And it's to me, it sparks a lot from a place of manipulation, lack, scarcity, like I gotta hang on to this person, which I feel that's where a lot of people shy away from commitment, because in my experience, in my practice now, it's not just men that are shying away from commitment anymore, it's women too. And so I'm wondering, do you notice that plays a part in it? Because there is still a mentality of manipulation in the art of seduction, even in that art of seduction. How do you keep it separate from manipulation?
Okay, so you have to look at, we're going to get into the matrix now. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
So there are 2 different worlds that we live in, okay? Every single person. There's a matrix, the one that I call the matrix, which is society, okay? Your desires. You want a Lamborghini, you want a big house, you want a hot wife, you want all these things, right? And then there's the authentic you. The authentic you needs connection. The authentic you needs inspiration. The authentic you needs some sort of novelty, adventure, spontaneity. When you come back to the matrix, you're always trying to market to people through sex. Okay, the reason I got into this industry, because pickup artist industry, I'm sure you heard about it. I'm sure many of your viewers have heard about it too. They try to market sex. Okay, they advertise sex to their male viewers and how to sleep with the most women possible. I'm not going to name any names, but
well, it's true. And I'm actually a master practitioner of neurolinguistic programming, which has been used by such people.
Exactly.
They use those tools to be able to direct behavior of women.
Exactly. And it's so misguided, because you're taking all these men and you're influencing generations of men, millions of men, into thinking that the ultimate goal is objectifying women and sleeping with them and getting to feed your ego. Okay, but you have to realize that your ego is actually pretty harmful to you. You have to feed the ego in order to become more powerful, more confident, and go forward with life, be successful in every area of your life. But again, you are playing with the balance between the matrix and the real you, and the real you wants connection. So that the ego comes in place, and it kind of takes away from that genuine connection, because it's thinking about the end goal, which is getting a woman to your home and feeding that ego again. It's a circle that keeps growing more if you don't realize when to stop it and how to stop it, how to come back to your original self. So you have to think of it as, how can I be conscious, aware of what people are advertising to me, what I'm getting out of the media, how I want to fit in with others, because you have to remember, our biggest fear is uncertainty. So a lot of people, they don't want to be standing out from other people. But when you think about it, when you stand out from other people, this is when you become your true, genuine self. So it's all a balance once again, and you have to be aware of how you're being manipulated and take that in as information and kind of decide on your own how you're going to guide yourself, how you're going to direct your life.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I've done some training in tantric healing. So as a tantric healing practitioner, one of the things we've learned there is that feminine energy is water and male energy is fire. And what I've recognized over time is that the male energy, I mean, which would you rather be, a forest fire or a tsunami? You know what I mean? Where does the power lie? Now, fire is very powerful, but water is extremely powerful. And it's very easy for men these days to feel that flame by the water of women, particularly more that now we're more in the corporate world, we're owning businesses, we're holding positions of power. And I find that men have a difficult time being able to maintain that fire. Right, and to have that balance, so that lends itself and leads them to want to objectify women, because that's what feeds them, makes them, burns their fire up, and through their sexual contact with women, that this is how they raise the fire within them, and so they're feeling that need of balance in their energy, but I think they're going about it in a bit of a misguided way, and instead of bringing that balance to themselves, that they're trying to take the power away to gain more power versus empowering themselves and leaving a woman to still remain powerful. Have you seen anything like that? What do you think about that concept?
Well, once again, you are stuck with what society has been brought up with and what you're supposed to do. A lot of men come in, they want, they come in, they think, I'm gonna get this girl to kind of come in with me and be a wing girl and get the, hottie back home. But they're misguided. They have to wake up, and that's how you kind of wake them up with your reality check, by putting them in uncomfortable situations and then letting them see on their own that sex is really not the only way. But that power that you're talking about, that power exchange, I mean, you're putting it all on men, but women have a lot to do with this too.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm not saying that it isn't women. It's an imbalance. So we have let go of a lot of our feminine energy per se. So where women were, built as nurturers,
right.
And we've moved away a lot from that in trying to be independent.
Right.
This comes from times of war when the men were away from protecting us and providing, that women sort of had to step up, and that's when they started working.
Yeah.
But I find that over generations and over the years, it's becoming a little bit more imbalanced that way. And I see a lot of men that come into my practice who feel somewhat emasculated, and they don't feel like they can just be men anymore. They, there is a part, you'll have women come in and they're upset. Oh, my guy was looking at this girl, what have you. Women are beautiful. Men are built to look at them. That's the way it works. So it's just really balancing the energy and the dynamics of also their own personal insecurities, or their own, and which can come through in projecting a need for power.
Well, you need to make them feel that it's okay to be in touch with their feminine side.
Absolutely.
And it's really difficult. Let me tell you that. I try often to open them up emotionally, and there's so much resistance because they feel, I'm not a man anymore. But what is a man today? If you look down to the core values that make a man so attractive to women, it's always about being fearless and authentic. It's always about speaking your mind and your heart in an open way. It's not about the guy that kind of comes in, throws the woman off on his shoulder and ha ha ha, I'm like a man. No, it's not that. That's not being manly. And they're so programmed since their birth to think that this is what a man is supposed to do, and they get lost. They're feeling lost spiritually and emotionally, and
it's a primal instinct, right? Men were built as hunters and providers, and men are not taught to have emotion from the time they're young. They're guided against that, seen as weak. And what do we say? Don't be a girl.
Right.
What do they say?
Right.
Don't you run like a girl? Don't cry like a girl. Like, what's the P word, right? Don't be a, right? Those are the things that are said. So feminine energy is seen as weak. And I think too, for a lot of women, myself included, having gone through being a single mom at times and that sort of thing, and having gone through sexual abuse, I also saw my feminine energy at a point in time in my life as being a weak energy, a weak part of me, and enhanced my masculine energy. So it created an imbalance within me, and I could see the imbalance that it would create in my relationships, because you'll attract based on where your energy's at.
Right.
because that's how the balance will lie, right? So if a woman has, let's just use number 75% masculine energy, she's going to attract a man with 25% masculine energy, and then she's going to call him weak. So it's really important, as you say, that self-awareness, to know that balance within yourself, to know and to be comfortable and to encourage and support the yin yang in your being.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really comes down to awareness. That's the number one thing that we try to teach.
Yeah.
And it's not really teaching, I should say coaching.
Yeah.
Because you're not sitting down in the classroom, going over your notes. You're experiencing life firsthand. And it's really understanding where you come from. It has to do with your values, your traditions, your cultures, all of that. But it also has to do with your personality. Personality is 75% DNA. It's genetic. So you have to understand yourself. You have to understand how you can communicate through body language. A lot of people, they're so caught up in their phones today. And it is so crazy to me, because you're not living in the here and now. You're living in something that is a safety net, a security net for you.
Yeah.
Every time you have to confront someone, sit at a table with someone, you're always looking at your phone because you don't want to have actual conversations with them.
Eye contact, right?
Yeah.
I see that all the time with people, and they just pick up their phones. And to speak to that point, I went to the NBA All-Stars game when it was recently here in Toronto, and I mean, those tickets started probably around $700 for the upper bowl, like nosebleeds. And I'm watching all these people on their phones, and I'm thinking, what are you here for? Like, you're missing the whole game. You're missing everything that's going, because they're busy taking pictures and tweeting it and Facebooking it and all this stuff. And I find that in general, people are not present in the moment of what their interactions, and they're missing so much.
Right.
So some of those verbal cues, those nonverbal cues, the actual exchange of communication that you have with someone even in that awkward silence, that allows you to get to know them, those things that you can pick up to know, what, if there's nothing going on, we don't really have anything to talk about. You miss that because you're busy doing this.
Exactly.
And then you just keep going, and sometimes these lead to relationships that maybe just should never have started.
Exactly. You see so many people that are in incompatible relationships, and they have no idea why they are in it. That's also another problem. They are so afraid of being alone and exploring their own self that they're spending all this time with people around them and just on their phone again and talking to them, and so much energy is being wasted. And you have to remind people, like, you have one life. You have to wake up and realize that this is happening right now. And then I have people that say, yeah. But if you're saying to my phrase, you don't understand what real life is about. You don't understand what real death means to you. You don't understand how precious this moment is right now. And you're living life in what I call the self-limiting paradigm, which is you limit yourself. It's like the self-fulfilling prophecy, but in a negative way. Okay, so you tell yourself, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to find a wife that loves me fully and inspires me. And you limit yourself, so you limit your possibilities. And it is so sad, because we thrive on happiness. We thrive on novelty, spontaneity. And we also thrive on certainty, stability, and security.
Yes, of course.
So it's a balance of those two. And you have to explore it with yourself. Be able to stay on your own. Be able to say, yes, I'm single, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I'm going to go around and be a crazy tiger in town, but it just means being able to appreciate things, learn through other people by communicating with them, and learn through your fears too. And that's something that we don't look through enough. We look at fear today as, well, we're talking about fear and love, right? Two different vibrations that either keep us feeling a little bit imprisoned, or love, the higher vibration that keeps us thriving, wanting more inspiration. People have to understand that those two go well together. It's the balance between the two. And in a lot of in our society, they tell us that fear is something that should be overcome. But it's not true. No. Fear is there to save you, too.
Of course,
and you have to understand it.
Yeah, it's an indicator, right? To help you know where the disharmony or where you have room for opportunity or learning or growth or expansion is. So it really helps you to have that fear. It's your little knock that gives you a sign that something's up. So it's amazing to have that insight. Now, when we talk about, you use this term wing woman and wing, for those in the audience that don't know what that is, can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. So wing woman is a person that goes out with you, but before she goes out with you,
Yes.
she gets to know what you are all about. That means your values, how you grew up, are you spiritual, are you religious, what do you want in a woman? When I ask someone, what do you want in a woman, they tell me, as we mentioned in the beginning, someone, tall, fit, blah, 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 blah. What you have to listen to is in between the lines, where their vocal tonality kind of goes high pitch or low pitch, where they stop. You analyze these things because you want to see what triggers them. Once I understand what they truly are looking for, then I select an event that will suit them.
Okay.
So I'll bring them with me to a certain event in Toronto, and we'll go look around, feel the energy. I tell them, don't select yet. Just feel the energy. Get in tune with yourself. So we're doing two things at the same time. Number one, we're getting the person used to being comfortable with their own self in social situations. Number two, we're gonna try to make him meet someone very, very compatible with him. So he's gonna tell me, naturally, I'm attracted to this girl, this girl, this girl. We're gonna go with him, kind of introduce him to the woman, give him a little tip. Like as an example, if I want to build connection with you at the beginning, I would introduce myself. Hi, my name is Leanne. How is it going? A lovely handshake. You compliment someone, you get them a little bit to think about their own self. And then you ask them a question that no one else will ask them. What is your passion project? You teach them to think about things that are deeper. You teach them how to interact with people in a deeper way, so that not only you can create a memorable moment, you get people to think. So you're getting people to remember you through deep connection. And the third thing is you set yourself as a leader. Now, a lot of people are followers. A lot of people are just flowing in the river, kind of seeing what life brings to them. They don't really know where they're going. You teach them to be more aware of themselves, of their thought process, of the other person, and how to take that lead and make things happen for you. So you really teach them about themselves, about how they can be more attractive, about how they can be more aware, about how they can select someone compatible for them. It's a whole session.
So would that be a lead-in? I have magnets. It's been happening to me all day. I'm so magnetic. So would that actually be a hi, how are you? Like, nice to meet you, lovely handshake, and next question, what is your passion project?
Yes.
Would that be like
Absolutely.
the next question?
That's the next question.
Wow. And how do women respond to that?
You know what? Surprisingly, a lot of women don't know what their passion is.
Yeah, it's not surprising to me. That's why I'm like, holy crap. I can imagine a lot of the women I know, if someone asked them that right off the bat, they would be like stunned.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't know.
It challenges them. It challenges them. It gets them to think. And a lot of women just say, I need to think about that a little bit more. Or I don't know. And what it does is in social dynamics, it's always about power exchange, right?
Yeah.
So what it does is it gives that man who didn't have a lot of self-esteem a little different perspective about that beautiful woman that he thought is 10 out of 10, confident, powerful, and everything. It makes him realize that she's human too.
Yeah.
That she has faults in her character too.
Yeah.
That maybe you can come in and inspire her to find her passion. Or you can come in and be someone memorable for her. They feel so invisible, right? They feel so transparent to those women. And when you make them realize that everyone's just a human being, they feel so much better about themselves. And I always say, I would love to coach women more. But unfortunately, sometimes they don't feel like they need that coaching.
They don't feel coachable. Yeah. Now, so you're wing women, so you don't actually speak to women on behalf of men. Because in a wingman situation, it's sometimes a guy that is talking up another man to a woman to kind of elevate him. Okay. But that's not what you do.
I do. I do.
Tell me about that.
So, obviously, when you come in with an attractive female next to you, your social value rises, right? What happens is that I will kind of take care of the woman that is an emotional vampire. We call them. Okay, we refer them. They're always the women that kind of want to take the girlfriend away, stay with them. So you have to really know what you're doing. Introduce them to each other. Create that bubble, what I call the bubble of comfort. You create a playful environment for the four of us to kind of interact with each other. And eventually, as he is talking to the woman he's interested in, I am distracting the woman he's not interested in.
Right.
And some people may view that as, okay, you're doing something against feminism and whatever. But you have to realize that we're all trying to connect authentically with someone, whether what attracts us at the beginning is sexual attraction, sexual desire, or whether that is emotional for women. You have to understand that men kind of need that connection too, but you have to give them more time to do so. So what do? I distract the woman. I get to know her a little bit more. And while he's talking to her, I'm observing him. So I'm looking at his body language. How are they standing? What is he talking about? Is he touching her slightly with his fingers? Is he being aggressive with his approach? And as you are watching him, you kind of distract her at the same time. So you're talking to her, you're letting her feel that she should be comfortable with you, that you're a friendly, approachable woman, and that he is your friend. So obviously he's approachable. So you're trying to do all these things at the same time, right?
Good job.
It's exciting. It's a thrill. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was out the other day, and I could tell this guy. There were two gentlemen, and one kept coming to me, and he's like, "This is a really great guy. He's a really good guy," and it started to I had thought he was a nice man, but the amount of times that he kept coming in, it started to kind of raise my doubts a little bit, like, why are you pushing this guy so hard? Like, things we were connecting well and everything, so why does he keep coming in and keep going? And it actually served as a deterrent to me.
Exactly.
Because I'm thinking, if he's so good, why does he need you to say it 25 times? Like,
exactly. So you teach them to attract, right?
Yeah.
We always say neediness is the complete opposite of attraction. So obviously the man in your example was a little bit too needy. You have to teach them how to control themselves, make a powerful first impression.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot of time to do that.
No.
As I told you, what's your passion project? You're creating that right there, that deep connection that no one else tells you.
Yeah.
Look, people are so predictable. People are extremely predictable. So if you know how to get them out of their routines, you're creating a strong impression the first 30 seconds to 1 minute that you meet with someone. And then you can just exchange contact numbers or tell them that I'm going to go around, meet my friends, and I'll meet you later. Like this, you're creating a leader's impression in the female's mind. And you come back, she's wondering more about you because she's still thinking about passion project. So what you're creating is that authentic, fearless connection. And she's going to be the one coming to you after if he does everything the way I tell them to do it.
And so the result that your clients are looking for, as opposed to some of the other establishments that we discussed, what's the difference?
Okay, well, my clients, as I told you at the beginning, they come in looking for some relationship of some kind. Now, whether that is a fling or whether that is a relationship or marriage, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Because what we do is we give them the tools to make those decisions and go after what they're wanting on their own. Yeah. So, really, it depends on what kind of clients come in and how you deal with them. It really, really depends on.
Yeah, because there's no judgment, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with casual relationships and things like that. There are many people that are out there that are in that space right at that point in time. So it's what you're doing is assisting them to help them connect on a different level, more with themselves as well as with the women that they're meeting.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to think about our educational systems, right? They're very archaic, as I call them. They don't teach you about the most important things about life, about yourself, self-love being one of the main things that you should learn about. And you need that coaching, you need that education. People are looking for it. There's a need for it. And that tells you a lot about our educational systems. Number one, we're not offering something that promotes confidence and self-awareness. Yeah. Probably the two most important aspects of success, if you think about it. So why is no one teaching this?
Well, I don't know that self-awareness and confidence. I wouldn't agree completely. I know, at least I can speak to my own homeschools here that my children go to. My children attend 3 different schools between the 4 of them. And definitely there has been a major change in teaching them self-awareness, confidence. I took a photo the other day. I was so impressed with how they're teaching them to use affirmative language.
Oh, really?
And so they had a whole display. I think from that perspective, I think the reason that there isn't as much education and awareness around self-love is because not very many people know how to do it. So I think we're lacking educators in that department as a whole. If you look at the statistics around the consciousness, people who are operating in that level of consciousness around the world, it's probably 1 to 1.5% of the world. That's a very small number of teachers. And so, it's changing rapidly. if I look at a young woman like yourself and think this is fantastic that you're doing this, which is one of the reasons I wanted to showcase what you're doing, is that this helps because it is becoming something that's more prominent. It is becoming something that's more the norm. You know, people are learning at younger and younger ages that they should, that not should, but that the value of self-awareness and the value of getting to know how to take care of yourself from the inside and the out. And just basic things, like even when you really think about it, we take a lot of time to teach children how to brush their hair and brush their teeth and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But there are not very many parents out there that know how to teach them how to take care of themselves on the inside.
Right, yeah.
And this is where I think, you know, as we grow, as people like yourself, myself are helping to raise awareness, it will come.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Crossing fingers.
Cross everything. Crossing it all up. So now you may start doing some seminars and workshops, I understand.
Yes.
What would that look like? What would somebody come in and be able to experience at something like that?
So it's a full-on weekend of coaching. We do a little mixture between lessons about body language, interpersonal communication, the foundation of communication. Because once you bring the attention to how people actually communicate, there's a lot that changes in your life. And the other thing is we're going to challenge them after each seminar. So it's a 3-day course.
Okay.
Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh.
So Friday night, we kind of test them. Let's go out to a specific place, an event that I choose. And I'm going to tell each one of them, this is your target, or walk up to a woman that you're attracted to, and let's see what you can do. Now, obviously, the first day, everyone's going to have a little bit of an issue. So the second day you meet and you let them kind of talk about what happened. And you teach them a little bit of the foundations about interpersonal communication. So they can kind of take that knowledge and reflect about it in their own life and see where they have basically a problem, where they should work on, what they should work on. And what you do is you let them exchange information between each other. So you open the guys to each other by telling them, share something important to you that you feel has affected you, that has made you into the man that you are today in a very specific way. So we ask them to write letters. And what that does is
you get men to write letters.
We get men to write letters.
Like pen and paper.
Like pen and paper. It's
Well,
a
girl,
challenge. It's
I'm
a
telling you,
challenge.
if you can do that, you can do anything.
Every single client, it's like, you have to trust me. I'm not telling you to agree with me.
They're
I'm
not
telling you to
texting them,
this
right?
No,
They're
no,
not-
no texting. No texting this
Okay,
time.
okay.
No, we put the phones away during the whole
Ooh,
seminar.
there you go.
But the important thing is to let them open up an emotional side of themselves. What that does is that guys see guys being emotional and being vulnerable and being open and being authentic. That's some new experience that they've never had before. So you create an atmosphere of comfort, of playfulness, of authenticity. And they feel that change within themselves when they're interacting with other people, seeing that everyone is not perfect, seeing that everyone has mistakes, and everyone has those fears that they have to deal with. Mm-hmm. And then what you do is you bring them out to a day game challenge. So a day game challenge is not at all like a lounge or an event, a networking event. No, you forget that game. Now you bring them to a supermarket, or you bring them to the Sunday market, or you bring them to something that is a bit more challenging, because the atmosphere is going to be different, right? So the way you communicate is going to be different. So you're facing new challenges once again. And then the next day you go over that once again and you let them communicate. So not only they're building strong foundations in interpersonal communication, they're understanding themselves a little bit more. They're seeing that no one is perfect, and they're confronting their fears at the same time. They come out of the seminar feeling like a transformed man. Mm-hmm. And they have connections with other men that are going through the same thing. So not only you're building a sense of community, but you're also making them feel like, oh my God, there's a change coming in my life. There's a transformation. And you give them the tools to go after what they want in the future. So that awareness, once again, is very, very important.
Yeah, totally. So what's one of the, like on the Friday night when they haven't had any coaching, what's one of the most memorable things you've seen a guy do that you're just like, whoa, buddy, let me help you out here?
Approach anxiety.
Approach anxiety.
Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. You will tell them, go talk to those two women, open up a conversation. And I'm next to them. It's not like I'm away from them. They cannot do it. They can't do it. They just don't know what to say. They don't know what to compliment them on. They have no idea what to say. And I find this a little bit odd because every time, you try to remind them, it's not about what you say, it's about how you say. You have to keep reminding them. So that's definitely the number one fear they have.
Oh, okay. Now, what's a piece of advice that you could leave the viewers with?
Put your phone away. Turn off your TV. Stay in your room alone, no distractions. Take a pen and paper. Put it down and take 10 minutes only to write down where you truly see yourself. Not within the matrix, okay? So we're not talking about the superficial needs, the cars and all of that. But where do you see yourself in 5 years? And draw a very detailed image of where you want to see yourself. Visualization is one of the strongest, most amazing techniques in order for you to realize your potential. So once you know what your dream is, you know what to do. You just go back from the steps until today and realize what each step is to do, what you need to do in order to get to your goal. And once you know someone's why, there's nothing that's going to stop you.
Yeah.
You can keep on motivating them, inspiring them, and reminding them why they're doing this, because they want that change. They want to please their family. They want to be happy. They want whatever their why is. You have to remind them what their why is, and they're going to keep on transforming.
Yeah, that's awesome. And where can people reach you?
Ooh, and my website is the best way. I'm always on there. So it's leannebubbly.com, or for my male viewers, kingofheart.org.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us today. You've given us a lot of information and insight, and best of luck with everything that you're doing.
It was absolutely exciting to be here. Thank you so much, Priya.
Thank you. Viewers, matters of the heart are something that we all have to face during our lives, and love is something that we all need. You can be very independent, you can be very self-sufficient, and you can love yourself, but we're always going to want to share that with someone. And I think what we're talking about today is doing that from a place where you come as a whole and you come complete. And how you get there is by getting to know you. And it's one of the things that I tell you episode after episode is the one relationship I guarantee you will have for the rest of your life is the one with you. You will always be there with you. And that's a relationship that you want to nurture on a day-to-day basis. Do a little something for you every day. Do a little something to get to know yourself every day. And the more that you get to know you, the easier that you can implement some of these techniques in speaking to people and connecting to people, because you know you authentically, sincerely, and you'll show up. So it really doesn't matter what you say, that knowing that you're coming from a place of honesty. And I can tell you, as a single woman, that's one of the things that I find most refreshing when I meet a gentleman, is to sense and feel that authenticity, no matter who he is or what he does or what car he drives. It's that authenticity and that awareness that he may have of his own self. So, be you. It's the only person you can be. Remember to always stop waiting and start living 365.